This episode of Tour the World is brought to you by Evergreen Tours, a world of discovery, and Antler, the champions of lightweight luggage. G'day there and welcome to Tour the World. Real people, real travel experiences. Now, we join real Aussie tour groups on the road through some of the world's most beautiful spots. And this week, an absolute corker as Jade joins Evergreen Tours in New Zealand's North Island. It's a destination that's so close and yet so far. This is North Island Unveiled. So let's get underway with the Tour the World Big Five. Explore New Zealand's cultural and cafe capital, Wellington. Enjoy a hearty hungy feast in Rotorua. History comes alive at the Waitangi Treaty Ground. Shop up a storm for up-and-coming New Zealand designers. And relax on a hole-in-the-rock cruise in the beautiful Bay of Islands. Our New Zealand journey of discovery begins in Auckland with a 2-night stay before heading north to explore the fabulous Bay of Islands. It's back to Auckland for one night, then south to Rotorua, the centre of Maori culture and home to the famous thermal springs. We visit beautiful Lake Taupo before arriving in the coolest little capital in the world, Wellington, for our final 2-night stay. When it comes to exploring New Zealand, Evergreen Tours are the experts. North Island Unveiled is a 10-day tour that takes in the North Island's most beautiful locations. Jade's in for a fabulous time, an incredible mix of cosmopolitan city life, stunning natural beauty and diverse culture. New Zealand is the destination that really does offer something for everyone. And the best thing is, it's all just a 3-hour flight from home. We're travelling with about 20 Aussies and we'll meet some of our fellow New Zealand explorers later in the show. Evergreen Tours offers a deluxe style of touring and all the key sites along the way are included. So sit back, relax and enjoy this amazing destination. And we're on tour, so we're going to need a tour guide.
Sally, thanks for joining us. Can you start by telling me how long you've been a tour director for?
I have been a tour director now for 12 years.
Now tell me, why do people love going on a tour, do you think?
People, I think, enjoy doing touring because they become, it's sort of like a family atmosphere. It's the mixing with the people, but also having everything organised for them. You know, they don't have to worry about accommodation, they don't have to worry, about getting somewhere on time, and they can just sit back, relax and enjoy the country and enjoy the scenery. The best thing about New Zealand is the fact that you don't have to go far to see something fantastic. Very short distance travelling, and the North Island is beautiful because the weather is always great. You've got some fantastic contrasts. You've got the beautiful Bay of Islands. You've got the wonderful, Rotorua, which is just classic with the geysers and the bubbling mud. You've got the green rolling hills in between. And of course, one thing about the North Island I find is fantastic. This is where you get a lot of your Maori culture and your history. And this is where it all began up here in the north.
Sounds great so far. Now let's cover off a few of the basics, starting with the accommodation. All the hotels on this tour are of a deluxe standard and centrally located. Your bags are taken up to your room at check-in and brought down again in the morning. Bring your swimmers, some hotels have pools and there are some great views on offer too. And there's always time for a pre-dinner drink at the bar. We're travelling by luxury air-conditioned coach on this tour and it's a really comfortable way to go. The coach has reclining seats and large picture windows that are perfect for taking in the constantly changing landscape. Towards the end of the tour, Jade chats with some of her fellow tourists to find out why they decided on a tour of New Zealand.
With the tour, you've got the company of other people If you want them, you've got them. If you don't have to. And we see so much more. You know, it's all planned out. Everything's done for us.
We visit some of New Zealand's biggest cities and best known regional centres on this tour, starting with Auckland, the city of sails.
Our visit gets underway with a tour of some of the city's key sites, including the wonderful Auckland Museum, which is also the city's war memorial. Auckland is home to 1.4 million people and is New Zealand's economic hub. In the centre of the city, you'll find the amazing Sky Tower.
Sky Tower is 328 metres high and offers some of the best views you can get of Auckland. Now, if you're game at 192 metres, you can actually throw yourself off the building. Sky Jump is New Zealand's highest jump point.
This is the tallest structure in the Southern Hemisphere, and the views are just fabulous. From the top, you can really appreciate Auckland's unique harbour setting. And it looks like Jade is not so great with heights, so she probably won't be having a turn at Sky Jump anytime soon. In the evening, the team boards a Pride of Auckland harbour dinner cruise to enjoy the magnificent city skyline from the water. It's the perfect way to end our day in this awesome city. From the bustling urban landscape of Auckland to the spectacular natural landscape of the Bay of Islands. The crew boards the Dune Rider, which is a unique way to explore this incredible region. The day includes a drive along the wonderful 90-mile beach all the way to Cape Reinga. Now, this is not the northernmost tip of New Zealand, as is often thought, but it is the spot where the Tasman Sea officially meets the mighty Pacific Ocean. And with the soaring sand dunes along 90 Mile Beach, this is also the perfect spot for a little sandboarding. Now that looks totally epic. Rotorua, or Sulphur City as it's sometimes known, is of course renowned for its amazing geothermal activity. And we visit the Tupua Thermal Village to find out more. The visit includes an explanation of the significance of the area to Maori culture, before we take a stroll through the lush rainforest reserve to see and smell the gushing geysers, steaming vents and bubbling mud pools.
The mud springs were They were phenomenal, really. You know, they're just popping up out of the ground, and then you see it's steam, isn't it? They're just up in the air, out of the ground, out of nowhere.
It's an incredible sight and definitely a highlight of this tour. Our visit also includes the National Carving School, where you can chat with local craftsmen at work on their incredibly intricate designs.
I love how this tour stops off at quirky country towns like this one. Taihape is gumboot capital of the world. Now, if you're lucky enough to pass through here around Easter time, you may just take home the Welly Wanging Championship trophy. That is, of course, if you're quite good at throwing a gumboot.
And after a not-so-impressive warm-up, Jade manages a gold medal Wanga-winning effort. On to wonderful Wellington, the final stop of this tour and without doubt one of New Zealand's most fabulous destinations. The city tour includes the Centre of Government, the Parliamentary Library Building and the Modernist Beehive. Nearby Old St Paul's Church, the former Cathedral of Wellington, is a wonderful example of 19th century Gothic revival architecture. Built in 1866, it's still one of the country's best-loved landmarks. This city also has some amazing farmers markets, not to mention excellent restaurants and cafes, which also means great coffee. Jade heads to Mojo Coffee at Shed 13 to find out more.
Wellington is even more so than New Zealand, known for producing fantastic coffee, for producing fantastic baristas. A lot of the baristas which go overseas to places like London and Melbourne, a huge number of them come from Wellington.
And now it's time to see if our Jade has what it takes to join the ranks of the world-class Wellington baristas.
So how did I go, TK? First attempt.
It actually looks pretty good. Good amount of colour on there. The viscosity when it was pouring was really nice.
Thank you.
It's a little bit of something going down the side there, but...
Whoops. Better not give up my day job, I don't think.
No.
No. Let's explore the history of New Zealand, starting with the birth of modern New Zealand as we know it, with the Treaty of Waitangi.
The first Maori contact with Europeans came in the mid-1600s, but it took until 1840 for New Zealand to be declared an official British colony.
The Treaty of Waitangi is New Zealand's founding document, and it was signed on the 6th of February 1840 between the Maori chiefs and the Crown, and it was an agreement to coexist together. But Waitangi is a spot where the treaty was actually signed and drafted. And the significant buildings there, the Treaty House, where the words were actually drafted inside, and outside where the flagstaff was, or is where the treaty was actually signed.
Te Papa Tongarewa loosely translates to treasure box. And if you're into digging into New Zealand's cultural history, this is the place. Spread out over 6 levels, this is New Zealand's National Museum. Just make sure you give yourself plenty of time.
There's so much history to absorb at Te Papa, but we head for the modern art galleries to find out how the traditional cultural identity of the Maori has changed over the past 2 centuries.
There's always been a series of shifts. When Europeans first arrived, of course, Māori were very excited and took on things like wool and used that in their weaving, and steel chisels for our carving. So the art shifted from the very beginning. Paint, instead of using natural kukuwais or ochres for our painting, all of a sudden you had a different form of paint, so you had different colours, so that was all very embraced. That's a painting by probably one of our most senior Māori artists, a man called Ralph Hōtiri. That painting is a very early painting by Ralph, painted in 1959, and it's very much kind of that cubist, kind of expressionist kind of painting.
All in all, Te Papa is an absolute must-see in New Zealand, and another highlight of this tour. There's nothing like a good breakfast to get the day off to a great start, especially a champagne breakfast at the Skyline Cableway restaurant. Now, in addition to your daily breakfast, a number of lunches and dinners are also included. And the group is served up a tempting array of delicious dishes and tasty treats to enjoy. Our highlight dinner on this tour is the Journey of Ages Maori experience in Rotorua. The evening is a chance to experience some ancient ceremonies and rituals, and to enjoy a traditional hangi feast. The sharing of food is particularly important to the Maori and an essential part of their amazing culture. But first, we enjoy a cultural presentation, including a little audience participation. Now, the Maori are known to have been some of the fiercest warriors ever, but we're not so sure our guest warriors quite made the grade. The hangi is the traditional cooking method used by the Maori to prepare meat and vegetables, using hot rocks buried in a pit oven. The feast takes several hours to prepare and gives the food a delicious smoky flavour. After dinner, the fun continues well into the night. Now, even though this is a packed tour, there's always time for a little retail therapy along the way. And there's no shortage of souvenirs to pick up in New Zealand, with lots of handcrafted items from local artisans. As you would expect, the humble sheep and the lovable kiwi feature prominently, as do the All Blacks, along with blended merino wool possum fur winter warmers.
Aside from just great souvenirs, in New Zealand you can also pick up some great designer fashion.
For the serious shopaholics, save your shekels for style capital Wellington. This is where the fun really begins. Check out the up-and-coming New Zealand designers that are making a name around the world. How would you like to win an amazing touring package? Well, here's your chance from Tour the World. This fabulous prize includes a $1,000 voucher towards a tour for 2 people from Evergreen Tours, a world of discovery. A stylish set of 3 Drive Light luggage cases from Antler, the champions of lightweight luggage. A selection of Go travel products to help you get the most from your travel experience. And a men's holiday wardrobe to the value of $500 from Uberman. Contemporary urban looks and uncompromising quality. Just tell us in 25 words or less where you'd like to tour to and why. Visit tourtheworld.com.au. Now, even on tour, we all need a little R&R, and there are lots of opportunities along the way just to relax and take it all in, like this fabulous cruise around the magical Bay of Islands. There's a very good chance of coming face to face with some of the local marine life, including dolphins, seals, and even whales. And it doesn't take long before we meet our first local, a very inquisitive dolphin. We cruise past Cape Brett Lighthouse towards the Hole in the Rock. It's an amazing place.
Look, I would have to say I've loved every aspect of each place that I've been to. Bay of Islands for me was unbelievable. Doing a lunchtime cruise and then taking over to Russell, which is a beautiful historical little village. Was unbelievable, and then on the following day we did another cruise to the Hole in the Rock, which I thought was amazing. We actually went through the rock in our boat. I thought that was incredible. From 100 metres away, it was like that would never happen, but it did. And look, able to see the dolphins that were up so close to the boat. We saw whales, we saw, seals. It was just unbelievably incredible.
The dramatic landscapes on the North Island are the backdrop for many famous Hollywood films. Now the tour stops here at the Hobbiton movie set, a place where Peter Jackson brought The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit to life.
The group takes a very relaxing stroll through the wonderful village of Hobbiton, located in the West Farthing region of the Shire in Middle-earth.
The Hobbiton movie set, it was just unbelievable. Being a Lord of the Rings fan and all that sort of thing, when we saw it on the itinerary, I thought, oh, that's great. I'll see what it's like, but I didn't expect it to be anything like it was. Like, the bloke that took us around here, his commentary on the whole scene was great.
Meet some of the locals here in New Zealand, including the native birds, reptiles, and a sneak peek at the iconic kiwi.
No visit to New Zealand would be complete without coming face to face or face to beak with the amazing kiwi. And with 4 out of 5 species of the kiwi on the endangered list, the incubator program here at the Kiwi Encounter in the Rainbow Springs Nature Park is considered vital conservation work.
Tony, can you tell me a little bit about the kiwi, because it's an unusual kind of bird?
It's a very unusual kind of bird, and there's nothing else like them in the world. They're not found anywhere else in the world, and a lot of their features actually make them a lot more like a mammal than a bird. So they have marrow in their bones, just like you or I. They've got whiskers like a cat, presumably to help them feel their way around the forest floor. They've got a beautiful long bill with nostrils at the very tip, beautiful big feet, So a lot of their body weight's in their legs, just like you or I. Very large ear openings, small eyes. They are flightless, nocturnal, ground-dwelling, burrow-digging, strange little birds. But we love them because they're our kiwi.
Now, if you think this tour ticks all the boxes on your holiday checklist, then call Evergreen Tours or go online to evergreentours.com. For more episodes of Tour the World, visit our website or track us down on Facebook. Wow, what an amazing tour. That's all we have time for this week. Don't forget, if you have travelled to New Zealand's North Island, let us know what you thought on our Facebook page. And we look forward to seeing you tour the world again with us next week. See you then.